This is Abdul-Rahmaan I Muhammad with another training, fatherhood engagement training. This one is the 10 steps to working with fathers beyond engagement by yours truly, Abdul-Rahmaan I Muhammad. So the 10 steps to working. First a little bit about me. Um, I'm the executive director of My People Clinical Services here in Hartford, Connecticut. I'm the father of Amina, Amira, and Amir, and I'm also the grandfather of Cairo. I wrote my graduate thesis on the importance of fatherhood involvement in children's lives. I started My People Clinical Services in 2005. I've had over 15 years as a trainer, workshop presenter, and program developer, specifically in the area of fatherhood. I created the Father to Father program and developed fatherhood engagement services. I developed the fatherhood tools, the manhood tree, curriculum, and other initiatives. I'm also one of the tri-chairs for the statewide FELT. I was a member of the Breakthrough Collaborative series on fatherhood with the Hartford office of DCF. I'm one of the organizers of the yearly Dad Hero Community Field Day. And like I said before, we created the Manhood Tree. Check out our website, themanhoodtree.com, for more manhood work that's out there that we're doing, our group, our fatherhood monologues, our men's health initiative, etc. So I'm here again with another training, and I'm just trying to keep the ball rolling with good fatherhood work that we're trying to do. So this one, 10 steps to working with fathers beyond fatherhood engagement. Number one, we want to engage and present the facts to fathers. And I'll just go over these real quick, and then we'll go into more detail on what we're talking about as it pertains to these 10 steps. So number one, engagement and presentation of the facts. Number two, communication with fathers. Number three, assessment. Number four, determination of needs, issues, or behaviors that have to be addressed. Number five, explanation and clarification of needs, issues, and behaviors that have to be addressed. Number six, referrals to therapeutic, non-therapeutic, and parental capacity building supports. Number seven, follow-up and discussion of current standing and areas of needed improvement. Number eight, reassessment, which is extremely important. Number nine, determination of how the case will move forward, a concurrent plan. And lastly, number 10, communication of the facts and next steps. So let's start off with engagement. If a case involves a father that lives in a home, he should be made aware of what that there will be expectations for him as well as the mother in the case. So we're engaging with the father right from the beginning. Even more importantly, with our non-custodial fathers, we should be meeting them and reaching out to them as soon as possible. I mean, could you imagine that you have your child who's being taken away from the mother, or there's an issue with the mother, and as the father, you are last to know, you are last to find out. And so you want to make sure that the fathers are made aware of what's going on with their child as soon as possible. As soon as possible. And one of the things that we have to recognize is that, every non-custodial case is a little bit different. You have some non-custodial fathers, all they do is they send child support. You have other non-custodial fathers who are very involved in their children's life, consistently involved in their children's life. They have them on the weekends. They have them throughout the week. They pick them up from school. And so when they're off from their routine, where they go pick up their kid, go look to pick up their kid, and their kid's not there, we haven't done a good job of engaging them, because we need to make sure that we are making all the information that is aware to mom, aware to dad as well. We want to make sure that fathers are treated in such a way that they feel like they are being supported. I think you should look at our other video where we talk about the 21 levels of fatherhood engagement. One thing about engagement is that it could be, you could be very surface with engagement. But what we're really trying to do is get people who work with fathers, who work with men, to go deeper in their engagement so that they're able to get greater results. Because when a father trusts you, you're going to get greater results. When a father can depend on you, you're going to get greater results. When a father knows that you are going to tell them the truth, you're going to get greater results. So this is all about engagement. And engagement is really about developing a relationship. So when you think about your engagement with fathers, your engagement with men, you need to ask yourself, what type of relationship am I going to have with this father so that I'm able to best help, best serve, best support him? That's just something to think about. All right, number two. This is the second step to working with fathers beyond engagement. You have to communicate with fathers. And so, when we're talking about communication, once again, especially with non-custodial fathers who are not involved with the issue that brings DCF or any other system to the table, it is important to approach fathers with care, right? You don't want to go to this father with a heavy hand when he didn't do anything wrong. You're already trying to make a referral for him to get services and supports, and it's like he might have everything he needs and everything that the child needs. And so it's very important for staff, workers, people who want to work with fathers beyond engagement to recognize that fathers, that you have to communicate with them. You have to treat them, with respect. You have to treat them with respect because it's not one of those situations, especially when they're not necessarily involved with the initial incident that might occur. Let's say they were involved in the initial incident. Maybe they're a father and a mother and they're in a couple together, but you still need to make sure that the father is getting the same amount of communication that the mother's getting. You can't just go with your comfort level. You can't just go with the most easy thing. Even if you have to send a written documentation of what was shared with mom, you should be sharing with fathers the exact same thing. We always talk about how you got to meet fathers, meet clients where they are. So you got to meet fathers where they are by communicating with them and making sure that they are aware of everything that's going on. Another thing that we need to make sure of is that, no matter what, we are talking to fathers in a way that they understand. So a lot of times, with these big organizations, you have a certain way that you speak. You use abbreviations, abbreviated terms, and a father may not say, I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. And so you're talking and they're missing on something that they need to know. So it's very important, once again, to communicate in a way that is clear, that is concise, that allows for fathers, allows for men to be able to get the information and make an appropriate decision on how they're going to be able to move forward. Next up, number 3, you got to start your assessment. And after meeting with the father of the child, the following areas should be assessed to determine the appropriateness of the father for the care of the child. Some of the areas may have a higher level of concern and others may require referral to service or additional support. Through the assessment, it will help determine how the case will proceed. So, what is the relationship with the child before DCF or any other system gets involved? This is a very important thing to know. Like I said before, you have a father who is meeting with the child on a weekly basis that has certain days set aside, certain days that he's supposed to pick up the child, and then there's not information shared with them. Well, how is it that it's going to be fair? How are you going to like the assessment? Part of the assessment is knowing this information so that you can make the best decision in the interest of the child. Number 2, you're going to assess his employment. You want to assess his housing, transportation, right? You want to be able to say, okay, well, what are the parenting skills? And this is age appropriate parenting skills because the child may not be a baby. The child may be a teenager. There may be, there's different skills, parenting skills that you need for different phases of development of a child. Um, are there other children? This is part of the assessment. Are there other children that are not necessarily related to this, that are related to this child, but not necessarily from the same mother? What's the overall disposition of the father? You know, relationship status. Is he in a relationship? Is he married? Is he divorced? Are there other people in his life that we need to do an assessment of as well? Is there a history of drug use? Is there a past history of any criminal history? Is there a past history of incarceration? Is there mental health, physical health issues, safety concerns, other potential family members that now this is very important. Other potential paternal family members who could be of assistance with this child. When you're doing your assessment, even though you may be focusing on mom, even though you may be focusing on dad, you want to be in a position where you are able to start looking at those paternal family members, because those paternal family members may end up being the people who are the best resources for the child in the future. So you have to kind of check into those people as well. And then the last couple are the willingness to participate in services, to cooperate with services, and then ask yourself if the father is capable of caring for his child unassisted. So right now, if you're trying to make a decision, can this father take care of this child without any supports from DCF? Has this father been taking care of this child without the supports of any outside organization? And why will we prevent him from doing that going forward? So next up, we look at the determination of the needs, issues, behaviors that have to be addressed. Determination of needs, issue. So this is based off the assessment, right? This is based off of the engagement. This is based off the communication. Now we're saying, based off of these things, these are the needs that we have, these are the issues that are presented, and these are the behaviors that have to be addressed. So let's look a little deeper into that. So after initial contact and assessment, you got to determine, based off of this information, how are we going to proceed? What are the areas of need the father presents with? Are there any areas of need? Maybe there aren't any. Are there issues that are presented through the assessment that are concerned and can be can the issue be addressed with services? Can the issue be addressed with therapy? Can the issue be addressed with a conversation? Are there mental health issues? Are behaviors that prevent father from being a serious candidate for custody? What is the outcome that's being sought from services? So we don't want to refer fathers to services just for the sake of referring, right? We want to be able to make sure that we know a specific outcome that we're looking for. So we're saying, this is what's going to be needed. This is what's going to be needed. And now we have an expectation set based off of what we believe is going to be needed. Step 5. Now you go, so you made your determination. Now you have to go back to the father, back to the paternal family, and explain and clarify the needs, the issues, and behaviors that had to be addressed. So father needs to be made aware of any meetings that are coming up. Fathers need to be made aware of anything that you feel that he needs to do, right? You need to be able to say, well, Mr. Johnson, you need to go do this because, through our assessment, we feel like you could benefit from a parenting skills class. We through our assessment, we did a drug test and we see that you are, currently using fentanyl or marijuana on a daily basis. And so we want to be able to address that. Go back to the father and clearly make sure he clearly understands the point of view that DCF or whatever organization is coming from, and the changes that need to be made in the best interest of the child. Fathers should be allowed to ask questions and clarify what is expected of them, because ultimately they're going to be held accountable to what they're being asked to do. So in addition to talking, and it is recommended that all expectation, and this is very important, when you give somebody an expectation, it is important that that expectation is documented, written on paper, so that their father is able to go back to it, so he could be able to say, "This is what I was supposed to do," and everybody's on the same page what's being done. So step 6, referrals to therapeutic, non-therapeutic, and parental capacity building supports. So this is a very important step. We want to be able to not only support the father, but we might also want to be able to support the child in services and supports that they may need that are going to help them with a transition from their mother's home to their father's home. So fathers may need therapeutic support. The child may need therapeutic support. The child may need an after school program. The father may need a bed because he didn't have a bed for the child, And so, it's like when you think about this from a non-custodial father standpoint, if you're the non-custodial father and you have a non-custodial father and he is not responsible for the child on a daily basis. Maybe it's every weekend. So on the weekends when the child comes over, he's able to set up the couch or set up a little, sleeping bag or something like that. And so it's like really very important to recognize that if we're going from one placement from a mother to a father, some of the things that are some of the things that they're going to need support to be able to get those things. They're not just going to, maybe they don't financially have the money to go get a new bed, to be able to get more space, to be able to get more food, all of these things that they may be responsible for. And so it's just very important that we wrap around the fathers, the needs and supports that they may have, because we're looking to do a change sometimes, so it's like, if there's a change that we're going to ask for, right, we're going to say that the child is in a better place with the father, then we need to be able to provide them with the support that they're going to need in order to make that change become a reality. All right, step 7, follow up and discussion of current standing and areas of needed improvement. So once again, this is a very important one. So now the case is moving along, but the father still wants to know, like, okay, am I moving on the right path in order to be able to get my child? Am I doing the things that I need to do? So this follow up is to be able to say, okay, you're on the right path. This is our plan. This is how we're going to get to where we're trying to get to, and fathers are able to be able to say, like, I attended these meetings that were scheduled. I did these classes that were asked. I visited with my child. I have all my needs met to be able to care for the child. And so this follow up is to be able to say, this is where you are now, and we feel comfortable with placing. Or this is where you are now. You haven't done all the things we asked you to do, and therefore we are not comfortable with moving forward. We have to go with a different plan. So this follow-up and discussion is very important because it's like a constant conversation with the father to let him know where does he stand in this situation? What kind of progress is he making or not making, for that matter, that will allow for him to be in his child's life. Okay, this one is so important. So you've been working with the case for 3 months, 6 months, and things have changed. And if things have changed, you should be doing a reassessment. You should be saying, wait, let me look at this case again with a new set of eyes. Let me look at this case again from where we are today. And let's go back and say, like how much progress has been made over this amount of time, over a month, over 3 months, over 6 months. When you have that much time, so you say, this is where we started and this is where we are now. We're moving along. So you don't want to hold people to the standard when they first started the case 6 months ago. You haven't changed your way of thinking about the father in 6 months when they're going to classes, they're going to rehab, they've been consistent with their visits, they made room in their house, they got support. That's different from 6 months ago. So you have to do a reassessment based on the new information that you have. And once again, now with your reassessment, you make a determination on how the case moves forward. So you have to be able to say, based on this new information, I have a new way that I think this case is going to move forward. We thought we were going this direction. Now we're going in this direction based on the new information that I got through my reassessment, based on the information I got from the other providers that are involved in the case, based on the information I got from the child, based on the information I got from the father. I have to make a determination how I'm going to move forward in this case, what other supports that I'm going to add into the case, all the same things like as before, but it's like being able to say, we see a change, so therefore we're going to move forward. Now, this is the thing. There is a chance where there hasn't been progress. And you have to make a determination, what is in the best interest of the child? What can we do? And it may not be with father. It may not be with paternal family members based on the actions that they have had, based on what they've shown you over 3 months, over 6 months, over a year. That can help you with determination of what and how you're going to move forward. And the last step is communication of facts. So if no matter what, you have to go back to the table, back to the father, back to the paternal family member, and communicate once again, what is the plan? What are you going to do? How are you going to deal with this situation? You got to communicate where there were pitfalls, where there were mistakes, where there was miscommunication, where there was people didn't do what they were supposed to do. So that's why we're in this position right now. If the father doesn't do what he's supposed to do, we can't want it more than the father. And so if that's the case, we move on. We move forward. We come up with a new plan. We know that there's a concurrent plan, as a matter of fact. We're looking at father. We're looking at paternal family members. Mom is still on the table. We may have to look at foster care. All of these things are on the table because because people aren't doing what they're supposed to do. And so we need to clearly communicate to the fathers that the reason why we have to move in this direction away from you is because you didn't do what you're supposed to do. Or we need to communicate with fathers that you've done what we've been asking and we're moving in direction to you. Are you ready to take on this child full time? We need to put that out there to them too. That's a lot more work. And so when we think about the future with fathers, our future contact, these contacts should be task oriented. This is what you need to do between now and the next meeting. So it's like every time you're meeting with them, it's like between now and my next meeting with you, this is what I'm looking for from you. You need to have clear expectations for fathers. Nothing should be foggy. You're going to have visits every week. You're expected to attend the visits. You need to come to the visits prepared. When you don't come to the visit, this is how it impacts your child, and this is how it impacts the case overall. Clear. Don't assume they know. So you want to make sure you are clear with the fathers. You give them all of the information about whatever the protocols are, whatever the language is, whatever it is about if they're not doing what they're supposed to do. You want to make sure that they are clear and understand that they know because you told them, not because they figured it out on their own. So you need to make sure that they know because you told them. And we want to hold fathers accountable. We want to be able to say that, hey, Mr. Johnson, I provided you with all the things that you needed to be successful, and you didn't do it. you failed. You didn't do what you were supposed to do. And you said, Mr. Johnson, you gave me your word. You told me you were going to be at this place. You told me you were going to be at this location. You told me you were going to go to treatment. You told me you were going to do whatever you said. We're going to hold them accountable to their words. We're going to hold them accountable to what they say. And that's very important. We're gonna make referrals to services that are that enjoy working with fathers, that advocate for working with fathers, that their work is focused on working with men and fathers, because we want those men and fathers to be able to get the best outcomes they could possibly have. And then the last thing is, in the future context, you always want to leave your contact information. No matter what, if they say they put it on their phone, you want to give them a card. You want to leave them with something, a way to get in contact with you, so that you're able to always be able to say that they have access to you, and it's not taking away access. So I want to go back and just review the 10 steps. You got to engage with fathers and present the facts. You have to, number 2, communicate with fathers. Number 3, you make an assessment. Number 4, you determine the needs, issues, and behaviors that have to be addressed. Number 5, this is going back to the father. You explain and clarify the needs, issues, and behaviors that have to be addressed. Number 6, you make referrals to therapeutic, non-therapeutic, and parental capacity building supports. Number 7, you follow up again. This is another communication. Follow up and discuss the current standing. This is where you are, and areas of needed improvement. This is where you need to improve. Number 8, you make a reassessment. You look at the case again with new eyes. Number 9, you determine how the case is going to move forward. So time is going by, and this is how we're going to move forward with the case. And lastly, number 10, we communicate the facts and the next steps to fathers. So this is another one of my trainings, workshops. Of course, if we would have done this training with a group of people, we would have had more conversation. But I wanted to put this information out on the internet because maybe somebody's looking for a quick video to show to their staff about what do you do beyond engagement. Because people get so caught up on the word engagement, and they don't get caught up on how do we move the case forward. And so what we're all about is moving the case forward and being clear with these steps on how you move it forward. So if there's any questions or comments, you want to contact me, you can email me, you can go to my website, you can go to my press kit, or you go to the Manhood Tree page. But all of those ways you can get in contact with me, and I would love to hear from you. This is Abdul-Rahmaan bin Muhammad, and I'm going to be out. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe, hit the like button, and share this video. And to you, I say peace.